Mr.Dizzy by Roger Hargreaves. Mr.Dizzy was, to be quite honest, not very clever. If you were to ask Mr. Dizzy what was the opposite of black, he'd say, the opposite of black is pink. He lived in a house on a hill which he'd built himself, a not very clever house. One of Mr. Dizzy's problems was that he lived in a country where everybody else was terribly clever. Cleverland. Even the birds were clever in Cleverland. Everything and everybody in Cleverland was clever. You'll never see a worm reading a book anywhere else but Cleverland. Poor Miss Dizzy. Everything around him was so clever it made his head spin. One morning, Miss Dizzy was out for a walk when he met a pig. "What's big and gray and has big ears and a trunk?" said the clever pig to Miss Dizzy. A mouse," said Miss Dizzy. The pig laughed sarcastically at Miss Dizzy and went off shaking his head. Then Mr. Dizzy met an elephant, a clever elephant. "What's small and furry and likes cheese?" the elephant asked cleverly. A pig," replied Miss Dizzy. The clever elephant laughed down his trunk. "A pig?" he trumpeted. "A pig, you silly man!" And off he went. Poor Miss Dizzy. Miss Dizzy decided he didn't want to talk to anybody else that day, so he went for a walk in the wood where he knew that he wouldn't meet anybody. He felt very miserable about not being clever, and as he walked along, a tear trickled down his cheek. Poor Miss Dizzy. Then in the middle of the wood, he came across a well. Little did Mr. Dizzy know that it was a wishing well. The day was warm, and so he decided to take a drink of water from the well. Miss Dizzy drank deeply, but he was still unhappy. "Oh, I wish I could be clever," he sighed. Little did Mr. Dizzy know that whoever drinks deeply from the water at the wishing well, his wish will come true. And Mr. Dizzy had wished that he could be clever, and his wish had come true. He was clever, but he didn't know it, not yet. On the way home, Mr. Dizzy came across the elephant and the pig he had met earlier. They were telling each other about how they had made Miss Dizzy look silly by asking him a question he couldn't answer. They were giggling and sniggering about it when they saw Miss Dizzy approaching from the wood. "Here he comes again," giggled the clever pig. "Let's ask him another question," sniggered the clever elephant. Miss Dizzy came up to them. "Tell us," said the clever pig, trying to keep a straight face. "What's white and woolly and goes bah?" "Why, a sheep, of course," replied Mr. Dizzy. The pig and the elephant were amazed. To tell the truth, so too was Mr. Dizzy. He suddenly felt very, very clever. It was a not unpleasant feeling. "Tell us," said the clever elephant, "what has 4 legs and a tail and goes woof?" "How easy," replied Mr. Dizzy. "A dog, of course." The clever pig and the clever elephant couldn't understand how Mr. Dizzy had become so clever in one morning. Mr. Dizzy couldn't understand how he had become so clever in one morning, but we know how he'd become so clever in one morning, don't we? Now let me ask you a question, said Mr. Dizzy to the pig. You, grunted the pig rudely. You asks me a question? Don't be ridiculous. There's no answer question you could ask me that I couldn't answer. Really? Smart Mr. Dizzy? Well then, can you tell me what's fat and pink and goes a tissue, a tissue? What's fat and pink and goes a tissue, a tissue? Repeated the pig, looking worried. There's nothing that's fat and pink and goes a tissue, a tissue. Nothing, said Mr. Dizzy, and he tickled the pig's nose. A tissue, sneezed the pig. The answer is you, said Mr. Dizzy. You're fat and pink and you're going a tissue, a tissue. The clever pig looked downright, if not down left, miserable. Mr. Dizzy turned to the elephant, who incidentally had stopped sniggering. Now, said Mr. Dizzy, let me ask you a question. What's large and grey and goes dup it, dup it? What's large and grey and goes dup it, dup it? Repeated the elephant, looking worried. There's nothing that's large and grey and goes dup it, dup it. Oh, yes, there is, grinned Mr. Dizzy. There certainly is something that's large and grey and goes dup it, and he tied a knot in the clever elephant's trunk. Dup it, cried the elephant, who wanted to say stop it, but couldn't talk properly with a knot in his trunk. Mr. Dizzy grinned and went home. I suppose you think that's funny, said the elephant.